playing a
Hawk
because it just dies again.
Right.
But those cards are getting worse as the game goes on. He doesn't want to spend his mana like casting 1/1 flyers past a certain point, so
Right.
it just jams him up.
So
we're going to watch this. I think, unfortunately, because you are going to be fighting one of these people in the finals.
I'm going to peace out. I'll let you guys do this. I'm going to go, relax and use the men's room and whatnot.
Yeah. Right, congratulations on being in the finals. I'm psyched.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, great
really
to see you.
Excited about watching
We'll see you in the top. We'll see you if the 20-minute red deck makes it all the way.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
All right. Take care, Patrick. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right. And so
that was Patrick Sullivan.
That was Patrick Sullivan telling us about how he just advanced to the finals of this tournament.
I'm Jacob Van Lunen. I'm here with Gavin Verhey. We're watching the semifinals of the Star City Games Standard Open Series in Edison, New Jersey. Right now, it's a semifinal match between John Sukenik and Mike Eisenhauer, also known as Meisenhauer. John looks to be up a game here. He probably...
So yeah, John is up a game here. John is playing Rug on the left. We saw him play in the quarterfinals, his Rug deck. He played it pretty handily. He's up a game. He seems to be playing his deck really well. He's Watchwolf on Magic Online, followed by two numbers which I can't remember. It might be Watchwolf 22, I'm not totally sure. And he knows what he's doing. He's played a lot of this deck. And on the right, Mike Eisenhauer, who's played a ton of blue-white, been a big proponent of the blue-white, no tectonic, no red, all tectonic edges all the time. And we'll see how far it carries them. The winner of this match will have to play against Patrick Sullivan's mono red in the finals. And Jonathan put both cards at the bottom.
So sick that Mike's this deep.
This has been a really exciting top 8 to watch. I mean, just how the decks have played out, and it's kind of interesting to see that, the decks that aren't Cobblade that made top 8 have been able to advance through the storm of Cobblade decks. We have at least mono red in the finals. Rug is at least in the semifinals, and could potentially be in the final matchup as well. So, Jonathan considering which land he wants to play here. Ends on Scalding Tarn.
Again, both these are local players. John actually plays F&M, less than 2 miles away from where we are right now. And Mike lives probably about 10 to 15 minutes away. So both of these guys were able to sleep in their own beds last night. I can attest to the fact that that is a pretty big advantage when you're playing Magic.
I was informed on Twitter by Titan the Titan that Watchwolf 92 is Mike Eisenhower's Magic Online name. So keep an eye out for that in his Kago deck if you end up having to fight him.
He probably chose 92 because it's a few years before he was born.
The usual. It makes him look older than he actually is, right? That's what everyone always tries to do. Triple Squadron Hawk on Mike's side of the board here in the Edison Open Series semifinals. And another preordained from Jonathan.
Now John's list looks so tight. Every time we've been watching him play, it's just been working beautifully for him.
I mean, both these players' lists seem awesome. Like Jonathan's carefully crafted. He's got some Inferno Titans to match up for this weekend. He has, he obviously is playing his deck very well and has made some small modifications for the metagame. Mike is I think these tectonic edges are really important. I've tweaked my sideboard a little bit. He has a bunch of ousts in his sideboard, I believe, which are great in this matchup. And I'm sure they've both put a lot of time in. We had Mike in the booth yesterday, and he was just, after he won his last round match, and he was so happy to have made top 8. His hands are still trembling. His opponent had to whiff on a summoning trap for him to make it there. Yeah. And when he whiffed, he looked ecstatic.
It's about as good as it gets, right?
Yeah. Whiff on summoning trap to make top 8 of the Star City Games Open Series. That is a good feeling. Not for the player who whiffs, however. That is a much worse feeling.
Not such a good feeling for them. Ooh, and Gideon may look like it's a powerful spell, but it's going to pass the turn, and John's going to kill all 3 Hawks with an Inferno Titan.
Yeah, oh man, big Inferno Titan. We've been talking about this card all weekend. You tap another red for that, buddy. Oh, no, he's just going to go shambling.
Ooh.
High five! He's like, all right, you know what? If I'm going to lose to Mold Shambler, you got me. Mold Shambler's a sweet card. And he sends over a high five. I guess which is fair, because a Day of Judgment from Eisenhauer would have been disastrous, and that Gideon gets in there.
And again, both these players play at the same store. Both these players are, you know,
very, very jovial.
They know each other.
In fact, aren't they both big Magic Online players as well?
Yeah,
they're
both really.
Yeah, they're
big
both
on
Magic Online. So you know, you can just as well see this happening in any given 8-man standard queue on Magic Online. Watchwolf 92, Jonathan Sukenik versus what's Mike Eisenhower's name?
Eisenhauer.
Eisenhauer, original. So yeah, there you go. Could easily be replayed in the standard queues tomorrow morning. And with the well-crafted ability of these guys' deck lists, I would not be surprised if there are plenty of other people replaying this matchup in the next couple of days based on how good these decks were built. So, let's see. Flash Freeze on a second Aesthetic Slime.
John did really well baiting that Flash Freeze out.
Yep, he's just carefully holding on. Wait, is that triple Inferno Titan in his hands? It was one of those a Lightning Bolt.
I think one's a bolt.
One might be a bolt. Man, they all look like they've got that flaming halo of Inferno Titan goodness. But it is unclear. I think there are at least 2 Inferno Titans sitting there, though. That's Jonathan's endgame for sure. So he activates Colonnade, and is going to attack for 6. 6 points of damage. Dropping Jonathan down to a lowly 3. And he's considering ousting here. No, and he just decides to pass back.
Mike could take this game.
Yeah, I mean, that Colonnade is going to be enough to do it, even if he drops Inferno Titan here. With that Inferno Titan earlier to clear off those Squadron Hawks, he's now in range of that Celestial Colonnade.
It's interesting. I wonder what would have happened had he played Inferno Titan into that Gideon as opposed to the...
Yeah, because then Mike sits on his Gideon and is like, well, I've got a Time Walk here. And John's like, no, Mold Shambler you. Attack you with my Inferno Titan. So who knows? It's an interesting play. So I see a Lightning Bolt in Jonathan's hand. He's probably... I think that's just him making Mike go through the motions here. Because he's leaving out 3 Squadron
Activate your land,
Hawks.
Mike. Activate your land, Mike. Good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy, Mike.
He activates that Celestial Colonnade. And he's going...
I like both these players a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm happy to see both
of them. It's great to see
so
two
deep in
local
this game.
guys here and playing in the semifinals of this tournament. You know, 600 players, good, and the local boys. You have Patrick Sullivan, local Jersey. Doesn't live in Jersey anymore. Lives in California now, but you know, born and raised Jersey. 2 Jersey players in the semifinals, one of them in the finals.
Everybody in the finals is a native of the dirty, you know?
There you go. All right, so Mike Eisenhower picks up the second game, and that will send these guys to a 3rd game playoff to see who will match up in the finals against Patrick Sullivan with his red deck. 20-minute red, I think, is what I've been calling it. We'll see if we can get it to stick.
It's something about the water in New Jersey, though. It makes, you know,
makes
the best Magic players, you know? John Finkel.
Jake Van Lunen.
You know, Jake Van Lunen. Gerard Fabiano. We have John, so I can just say that stuff like that.
I mean, who's going to argue with you, right? Oh, man.
Patrick Sullivan.
Sure.
Osip Lebedovich.
Yeah, just a couple days back, and the water's already back into circulation, apparently. What an exciting top 8. These games have just been back and forth, interesting battles.
See both players calling each other cabbage.
players diligently shuffle up for the deciding game.
This is so exciting. Now, Mike Eisenhauer versus Pat Sullivan final. How would that be?
Probably also exciting as a Jonathan Sukenik final. I mean, they're both great players. I think it'd be really interesting to not see Cobblade in the finals at all, but we'll see how that goes. How do you think the players would switch up their sideboarding for the third game here?
Looking over things, I think it's pretty much the same. It's not really like a red deck where like the tempo-based plays make you change your sideboarding from games like where you're on the play or on the draw. It's interesting, like when you're playing against decks like red or decks like Burrows, cards like Cunning Sparkmage can be incredible on the play and lose a lot of value when you're on the draw. But when you're playing against these Jace-type decks, your sideboarding plan is probably going to stay the same. I imagine John has gone to a plan where he has his set of slimes and mold shamblers, and Mike decided to keep in his Squadron Hawk package. That's something that Josh decided to take out when he played against this deck. I imagine he brought in some number of Oust, and he may have even brought in some more counter spells. So if he's bringing in Flash Freezes and so he's probably bringing in Flash Freezes and Oust. That would be my guess.
All right. Well, players, I'm sure they're all thinking about anything they want to change now, but you know they know it's locked in. And
he's probably taking out his Spell Pierces.
Yeah, Spell Pierce might not be a card you want here.
He's probably taking out his Baneslayer.
Oh man, what a tense game 3. I mean, watching Mike play his game 3 yesterday against his Valakut opponent, you knew he was just shaking and shaking and shaking. And now here we are again, an even tenser match, semifinals of the tournament. You can tell he is excited to be here and simultaneously the most nervous he's been in his entire life.
Yeah.
And yeah, on the left, Jonathan Sukenik, just thrilled, happy to be here. I'm sure just as nervous. Yesterday, out of all the top 8 players, I got the chance to talk to them and you know, interact with them a little bit, and he just seemed to be the most like genuinely happy to be there. He was like having his profile picture taken for his new Facebook picture. He was like, "Let me take a picture of me like this. Take a picture of me like this." like you just like being like, "Can I get?"
It's like take a picture of me behind while I'm looking over my shoulder.
Right. Like, can I get a picture in the booth with you guys tomorrow? Like, you know, will you hang out? What do you think of my deck? Like, he was really excited to be here. Obviously, very happy, and man.
It's also nice to see these players who don't get to travel as much.
Right.
Like, actually doing well, making it count when they get that chance to go.
It just shows how much hidden talent there is. You know, people who just don't travel as much. There's a lot of great players out there.
John kept a one-lander after mulliganing. His preordain got him there, but...
And preordain from Eisenhauer.
It's dangerous to get stuck on 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a deck where it wants to ramp his mana as much, you know? You just can't afford to do that.
As far as other cards that Mike might have taken out of his deck, I imagine he probably shaved a day out of his deck. I'm not quite positive.
Yeah, I mean, the days seem pretty hit or miss against a Rug. Like, sometimes they're really useful, like you just clear the board and they seem awesome. But there are definitely a ton of times where it's like, like, you know, you clear the board and they just have all these other threats that can fill up afterward because they just have such a high threat density when they hit the, you know, crucial mana amounts. And it looks like that's a Manleague on a preordain. Wow. He must have the read on Eisenhauer, or at least think he has some kind of read.
I don't think he has. I think Eisenhauer has plenty of lands.
I also feel like Eisenhauer has plenty of lands. But he felt like man-leaking that preordain was the correct play. Let's see if it comes back to bite him later.
He draws these lands off the top like it's his job.
Yeah, we watched him draw several lands in a row.
This is the second time we've watched him keep a one-lander and curve up perfectly. Last time he went all the way to Inferno Titan without missing one.
I guess that's the advantage of playing so many lands. The thing about all these standard decks is they're just playing so many lands. Cobblade.
Yeah, and you're playing preordains and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Keeping a 1-lander on turn 3, I have 4 lands in play.
Yeah. Usual business. Business as usual. Mike plays his 3rd land. Oh, and Jonathan finally misses a land drop. Sitting on, I saw an Inferno Titan in his hand. I'm not sure what else there is. That Tectonic Edge is going to be rough. That Tech Edge is going to take down that Raging Ravine. And now Jonathan's sitting on, I think, 2 Inferno Titans and maybe 1 or 2 Acidic Slimes also. Not entirely certain. Here comes down Stoneforge Mystic. Probably getting Feast and Famine, I would imagine. Or did he
I would
go
imagine.
Body and Mind here?
Well, I mean, Body and Mind makes you Jace proof.
Oh, he goes for Feast and Famine.
The Feast and Famine's just a better card here. That's the other thing. It's
Right.
like he's going to get some hits, and it's just extraordinarily powerful to, you know.
Oh my. And Baneslayer Angel.
Ooh, it's still in.
He still left it in there. And interestingly enough, it could close the game out if Jonathan Sukenik does not find a good array of threats. So Lotus Cobra comes down. If he draws a land, he could lay that Inferno Titan next
Well,
turn.
I mean, Mike's going to play a sword and equip it.
Yeah.
I'll gain 7 and untap all my lands.
Yeah. I take 7, I'll gain 7, untap all my lands.
Discard a card, please.
Discard a card. Seems pretty fair. For, you know, essentially...
That's a pretty good Spectre.
Yeah. Baneslayer Spectre, how about that? He discards an Inferno Titan. Bounces Lotus Cobra.
I like that play.
And cracks Misty Rainforest. In the background, Ricky Ayashi announcing the beginning of the Legacy Open. We'll switch to Legacy as soon as the standard portion is finished. The Jace's trade-off. And that Baneslayer Angel is looking to... Oh, there it is! There's the hand!
Yeah.
Mike Eisenhauer goes all the way to the finals. So we will see
Eisenhauer fighting in the
against
finals.
Ken Patrick Sullivan slice through 3 Cobblade decks in the top 8. Or will Cobblade, the story of the tournament, take everything down?